Okay, so today I'm planning on wrapping my head around how to incorporate that on the very first move. It's white's move, but white needs to place a black stone and black needs to place a white stone, and then white will place white. So we need to change that. Now the tricky thing is too, we can't allow the player to swap stone types. You can only place a ley stone. And they can't switch move types. So all of our directional arrow keys shouldn't do anything for those first two very moves, and then once those two moves are played out, then resume as we've been. So what I'm thinking is we're in a play state here. We detect. So I think we need to do something. Fuck, I don't know actually. Let me see if it's a move type place. Where's the move type place? Here we go. If it's a move type place, then if it's player one, go ahead and render. Well, player one, select limit, select. See, so we don't want left or right to do anything if it's these first two moves, so we wouldn't be doing this. Stone select. We wouldn't be doing that stuff. Is this still in move type place? That's the end for it. So move type place. If up or down is pressed, we'd swap move types. And then if it's a move type move, okay. We should have done this earlier, but that's okay, I guess. Let's see what happens. Yeah, look, placing a stone in an empty spot. When we click in a spot, so this is a click button in a grid that is not nil. Then if we're in move type place and that grid is not already occupied, then we're going to go ahead and become occupied. Put an occupant in that stone and then put... Here we go, okay. So here is where we click on it. So I think we need to do two different things. We need to render the different stone for player one. Instead of rendering a white stone, we need to render a black stone. But then when we click, instead of placing a white stone, we need to place a black stone. And then we need to make sure that we do not change our stone type. If we press up or down, or we don't change our stone type if we press left or right, and we don't change our move type if we press up or down. So we need to do those couple things. And then we need to place the correct stone upon a placement. So what is the way to do this? we need to say something like, if we call it turn count, something like that, we could say, hey, if turn count is 1 and it gets initialized as 1 on a new game, we would say, hey, if turn count's 1, that means it's the first turn. That means do not do our stone change logic, don't do our move type change logic. But if we're turn count 1, render the appropriate color stone at the mouse location, and then if a mouse press is detected on a non-nil grid, then go ahead and copy over the stone type, the stone color, and the stack control into that empty grid. So I think we can get away with something like that. So I guess first things first, if we go to our init, yeah, if we go to our init and we say turn count gets 1, I just want to print this up so I can actually see if we're doing anything. So in our render, I'm just gonna say, maybe just here at the bottom, graphics.print. We're gonna print turn count, and we're gonna put it at the bottom. Actually, we can put it, whatever, we can put it wherever. Let's just say our x is our virtual width divided by 2. And our y is virtual height divided by 2. We'll just put it right in the middle there. We're not wanting to keep this on long. I just want to make sure it's functioning properly. Virtual height divided by 2. So we should be printing up turn count. We're not plugging in the variable, which we have to do. So we will concatenate to a string our variable turn count. And we'll put a little colon, we'll put a little colon space here, and then make sure we don't forget this comma. Okay. Turn count 1. There we go. So we need to increment our turn count every time a stone is placed. In our place state, and this is, it doesn't need to capture, I've got this thing running on my computer over here I have to keep an eye on. Crap. Okay. So we don't really need to keep track of the exact turn count for the entirety of the game. We just need to keep track of the first 2 placements. So I'm not too worried about getting the exact number, but if we place a stone in an empty place, we need to increment our turn count. So that's the very least. So I guess if we go to our update, we need to go for that click detection in an empty spot. And if we do that, we don't want that. We want our click detection in an empty spot right here. So if we click in a spot that's not nil, and we're in a move type place, this is where we want to increment our turn count. So we will say turn count gets turn count +1. So we'll increment it, and then, that's not what I wanted. So if it's not occupied, we're going to go ahead and increment that turn count. Then we assign the appropriate values. We don't really care about that. And then we swap the player. Okay, so now if we place an empty stone, we should at least increment our turn count. So we'll start off at 1, then we're 2, then we're 3. So we need to reset it when we reset, and reset when we win. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll say this turn count gets 1 upon a reset board. So upon a reset board, we reset it back to 1. And then also upon winning. So there is a win detect. If white or black wins, we need to go ahead and reset it there as well. So now turn count 1. So a turn count 1 means we need to place a black stone as a white player. And then turn count 2 means we need to place a white stone as a black player. And then if it's turn count 3 or above, it's the normal thing, which will allow us to switch this or do a move type move, that sort of stuff. Let's test if we win, if it gets reset. Yep, it gets reset upon a win, and it should get reset upon a reset, which it does, so that's looking right. So we've got our turn count resetting appropriately. Now we just need to do something with this variable. So the first thing we want to do is to block the changing of the stone type with a left or right press. So in our update function, here's our update function. We're looking for if left or right is pressed. Here. So here, if right is pressed, it's gonna switch your stone, but we only want to do this what do we want to do? We want to say if right is pressed and turn count is greater than 2, meaning 3 or above, and go ahead and do that stuff. And then we're going to say also if turn count is greater than 2 here, then if we're player 2, same thing. So turn count would have to be greater than 2 to allow us to swap stones, which makes sense. Turn count greater than 2. So now, if we do the same thing, since it's turn count 1, we cannot switch our stone. And we can't switch our stone here, but if it's the third count, we can switch our stone. So let's try that again. Yes, we are not able to switch our stone on the first turn. And we are not able to switch our stone on the second turn, that's right, and we can switch every turn thereafter, which is looking right. So, the next thing we need to do, now that we've stopped that, actually we can... So if it's turn 1, we shouldn't be able to switch to a move type move. Because 1, there is no stones for you to even move. But 2, your first move has to be a move type place. Same with the second move, you shouldn't be able to switch to a move type. So let's do something very similar here, just with our up and down is pressed to switch our move types. Here, if it's a move type place, if we press up or down, we're going to switch our move type, but we only want to switch our move type if and our turn count is greater than 2. So something very similar. We only switch our move type here. Then we're saying if players 1 and player stones is less than 1, we're only a move type move. That makes sense. That makes sense. If we're out of stones, we can only be in a move type. But if we're in a move type move and we're in that first event, okay, so that's a move type place going to a move type move, and then we actually shouldn't have to do it again. Because we're in a move type place, we can't get to a move type move. So we should be good there actually. So let's see. We can swap move types. We are still able to do it, which means we're missing something. Either we didn't write it, or turn count is greater than 2 if it's a move type place, and up is pressed or down is pressed. See, I think we're getting messed up. There's an or and an and here, and I think those are kind of messing each other up. Because I feel like that should be where this is coming from. So I'm gonna say if turn count. Nope. Okay, let's try that again. If our turn count is greater than 2, then we're going to go ahead and actually do these things. Otherwise do nothing. So now we are not switching. So I think it was that and paired with an or in one conditional statement that it was not liking, because now I cannot change the move type, and I cannot change the stone type for the first 2 turns. Yet I can change the move type on turn 3, or change our stones if we wanted to, so that's looking good. So we've done good, but now we just need to we actually need to change the stone we're not only rendering, but also placing. So we're where did we do that? I think before we do the render, I want to actually do the click detection for placing it. Gosh, where is it? Here. So instead of putting so we're allowed to place our stone, but the thing is, the stone that's getting placed depends on the stone select, which is technically a 1 because we start off as 1 and don't allow it to change. So we would be putting an ls there, but we want to change the stack control and the stone color and the other places stones if we are. Okay, so I think it's right here, and I think we need to say something like, you know, we can say, hey, if our turn count is greater than 2, 3 or above, go ahead and do what we've been doing. But we need to say something like, otherwise, we want to say else, actually, yeah, we want to say else if our turn count is 1. If our turn count is equal to 1, then we're gonna do our, what would that be? Placing our white stone. Turn count is 2. Then go ahead. So turn count's greater than 2, go ahead and do what we used to do. But if we are a turn count of 1, and let's see, so this is detecting a mouse click in a non-nil grid in a move type place, all of which we are on our first 2 moves. If not occupied, yeah, because you can only place in an occupied. We're modifying our turn count, good. We're becoming occupied. We're giving an occupant to that grid, and we're giving that member a stack order of 1. Then we're saying, hey, if it's a lay stone, go ahead and assign that member's stone type to a lay stone. And then if we're player 1, we would also move over the stone color of a white because it's a white's turn. But if it's turn count 1, white is actually placing a black stone. So we would say player 2 stones would now get decremented. We would say player 2 stones gets player 2 stones decremented. Then we would say we need to modify the grid at the mouse location we just clicked on. So we would say mouse grid, mouse Y grid, and mouse X grid. We would say that occupant's members table at index 1, its stone color would get assigned to be actually black if it's turn count 1, because turn count 1 means white places black's stone. But then we need the stack. We need the stack control like this here too. So we can go ahead and say that stack control would get black. Okay, and then if it's a turn count 2, we want to decrement our player one stones. So we would say, nope, not what I wanted. Player one stones. Gets decremented for player two. Well, actually, hold on. This is different. This we want this elsewhere. So if it's a player two, else if stone select one. Where are we doing the stone select one? Oh, up here, up here. Okay, so yeah, if it's stone select one, then if it's player one, then if it's player two. So we want to only do this. Nope. We want to only do this if our turn count is greater than 2. That's when we're going to do our old logic here. Otherwise, we would say else if our turn count is 2. So if our turn count is 2, then we're going to go ahead and do these things where we actually place a white stone. Even though it's player 2, we'd be placing a white stone here, so we would actually decrement player 1's stone count. And then we want to actually modify that to be white, both in stack control and stone color. So now, even though it's a white stone here, when we place it, it is a black, but actually, what is going on there? That's not good. I don't know. I don't know why that happened. I don't know where that happened, man. That should be a black stone, yet it renders red. And then it swaps colors depending on what's... That's jacked. I don't know what I messed up here. I'm just gonna say we're taking that out so that it's working again. And then we'll try it again, just different. So let's make sure we don't have any of that weird nonsense again. Okay. It's looking okay. So what are we trying to do? Well, when we place a stone, we're a stone select 1 because you can't actually change it, which is fine. So if we click on it, we're assigning the stone type to a lay stone. Then we're saying, if our stone select is 1, if our player is 1, then go ahead and do this thing. But we want to say, if our turn count. If our turn count is equal to 1 by the time we click this. And actually, when do we modify our turn count? We update our turn count here. So this is actually a little jacked. We want to do this last. We want to update our turn count last. So we'll say at the end, oh lordy. What if we update our turn count here? After we do, I think that's part of the reason why it was messing up there, because we were incrementing our turn count before we even got there. So now with that moved, actually, yeah, with that moved out of the way, we can say, hey, if our turn count is 1, then we want to actually do something, which is to place a black stone. And it's the black stone placement would decrement. Really? Why does that do? Why? I've been having this problem where it moves the cursor by 1. I don't know if it's laggy or what, but so see that? It just did it. I pressed it, left it, and then it moved over. Why does it do that? That's why I've been, I mean, that and I'm bad at typing. Okay. Okay. So we've done this for just turn count 1 if it's player 1, but we don't have to do greater than 2. We can just say else if here, because we can't be a player 1. Oops, we can't be a player 1. Oh, what am I saying? We can't be a player 1 on a turn count 2. We just can't, if we're doing our job correctly. So let's see if the first stone we place is now a black stone. It is. Now, it doesn't look like it's messing up, so we're going to have to turn on our debugging just to verify some stuff, but it's looking good so far. Now, if we put on our debugging, take off our instructions. So there's our debugging, and we'll take off our instructions. Okay. So first move, we have to fix the render, but the placement is rendering the right. It says we've got stack control of black, and it says we've got stone control of lay stone. And then if we toggle on our potential roads, it's actually a potential road. So that's looking right. So that's the first placement. Now we need to do layer 2 for our turn count 2, and then we need to change the render for those 2 appropriately, and then that's one of the last features we're adding. We take a look at our notes. Yeah, our notes are, yeah, we need to place a black stone, place a white stone, and then place your own stone. So that's all of these. Oh, so then one of the last things we need to do is just loop our loot songs so that they play forever, which won't be very difficult. And then we can do some thorough debugging for testing. Now, let's go to where we use our turn count. And we're gonna, here. So, we need something similar for our player 2. So if it's player 2, then we're going to say, okay, well now we only really care if it's a turn count of 2, because then it's actually player 2's placement. And if it is not assignment, but equality. And if it's a turn count of 2, we're going to go ahead and deduct a player 1 stone. I don't get why it's laggy like that. I mean, it's probably because I'm running OBS. This is a 13-year-old computer, and I'm running some Matrix stuff in the background, and I'm playing Sonic Pi live, programming some music. So that's probably where the lag is coming in. But we want to actually place a white stone if it's a turn count of 2, we're actually placing a white stone, and we would say if it's not what I wanted to do. Yank all this, actually delete all this, then we want to say else and paste all that. So if it's a player 2 outside of a turn count 2, we want to deduct our actual stones and place our actual color stones. Otherwise, if it's a turn count 2, we're placing a white stone. So that should be right. We're rendering the wrong one still here, but first move we'll place a black stone, second move we'll place a white stone, then third move white stone, black stone, and then it's back. And we can change, and if by the time we're placing our first stone, we can't change the type or the move type, stone type or the move type, so that's looking right. All we gotta do now is put our correct render on that stone, and then we should be good to go. So, where do we render stone at mouse position? So like render stone, mouse position, render stone selection at mouse position. Cool. So this is where it's at. Now, we only render it in a move type place, that makes sense. Now, if we're player 1 and we have more than one stone, we're going to go ahead and render it. Because, okay. So, we need another else if in here, let me see. So if it's player 1, we're rendering a pure white. If it's player 2, we're rendering a black. Otherwise, we're rendering black. And I think we have little comments in there that says fix one frame render bug, which I'm remembering kind of flickered the wrong thing, but this is close enough because we're not changing what we're rendering, which is a rectangle that we fill at our mouse position, or a lay stone, but we do need to change which color it is. So after we do this, we can say, by the way, if actually, hold on, there's a better way to do this. It's player 1 and we have greater stones than 0, set it to white. But we don't want to set it to white So it should be right here, but we can say if turn count is equal to 1, then we're actually going to render a black. So this would actually be 0. Is that right? Now we would say this is, I should have just copied this crap. But we don't want it, we want to actually, we don't want 0 on the channel, we want full opaque. So, hey, by the way, if our turn count's 1, render a black stone by setting our color to a black stone. And then, if it's player 2, we say, okay, well, if we're a turn count 2, well, we can go ahead and set the original color, but if we're come on, if we're a turn count of 2, then go ahead and set our color to white. So we can just snag that from here, and we'll say, oh no, come on. Cool. I'm actually curious if this is actually still working, but that should take care of it. Let's see. So even though it's white's move, we're rendering a black stone because the first white move is placing a black stone, and first black move, we did decrement our black stones correctly, by the way, too. It's black's move, we place a white stone, then it's white's move, and that's the first time they place their own stone. And we've still got our potential roads, which is good. And whenever we make a road, we reset our turn count so that it's white's move and you place a black, and it's black's move and you place a white, then it's white's move. So it looks like we did it. Now I'm curious if we take out this else set the color here to fix our render bug, whatever we call that. Does that? It doesn't look like it changed anything, so I think, yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this tentatively commented out, or we just get rid of it. We just say it's good. It seemed fine to me. I guess we'll leave a little, well, it's kind of, turn count kind of speaks for itself, I feel like. So, okay, we're good to go. That was one of the last features we want to do in our game. That's actually basically the last feature. I mean, we just need to loop the music and then we're done. I mean, we could have some bugs, but it's looking good. It's looking real good. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the day once I turn off our turn count render, because we officially added basically our last playable update. The last thing I wanted to add is now added, and then it's just the final polishing and looping the song, and then moving on. I just want to turn count off for the moment. Cool. and we can't swap our... okay, you know what? Actually, we should add, if it's a turn count 1, we need a special instruction set to not do click to place your stone in an empty grid, but place your opponent's stone in an empty grid. And then take off the arrow to swap stuff. And then if it's a turn count of 3 or more, then we can render the stuff on our movement event 1. So let's go ahead and see if we can't figure that out real quick. It's in our instructions, which is just up here. So if it's a movement event 2, we want to do 2 different things. We want to say if our turn count is greater than 2, meaning 3 or above, then sure, go ahead and render what we've been saying. And that should make it so that we don't render anything until we've placed stones, and then it gives us the default message. So that's working. We need to say else we need to print up special instructions, and we'll just snag this. We'll say click to place your opponent's stone. So it's like I don't think opponent's stone in empty grid will fit, but to place your, I want to say place opponent stone, we need an escape character. Opponents, how do you do escape character? Because that ends the string. We want the escape character opponents, that's how it is, / opponents. Click to place opponent's stone in empty grid. Let's see if that even fits. Click to place stone. Yeah, that's a tight fit. So we'll say click to place opponent's stone. That's just what we'll say. So maybe we'll say place opponent's stone in empty grid. That sounds good. So we'll say place opponent's stone in empty grid. Hopefully that doesn't go off the screen. Oh, nice. Place opponent's stone in empty grid. It's black smooth. That's white smooth. Click to place your stone in empty grid. Arrow left or right to select stone type. Cool. And then up or down to move. Nice. Cool beans. Well, I'm glad we recorded it because we know what is going on, but a play state 2250 is going down. So if we go to 2250, it's right here. It was a movement event 6. Was it really? It must be at a different line. I must have misheard that. I think I misread that debug crash. What happened there? We had a black stone get crushed by a white stone. Then we tried to move our white stone up 1 and 2, and then it crashed. But that didn't crash. Oh crap, did we just did we just overwrite capstone? What? Our capstone just disappeared. Right? let's try this again. Place those stones. We'll place a capstone. We'll place a standing stone. We'll crush that. And then we'll dump 1, dump 2, lock it in. We're a capstone there. Now, if we move a white, yeah, we can't move a white into there. I don't get how we got rid of that capstone. I don't know what the heck happened there. I'll have to rewatch that. Shit. Okay. So we are still crashing. We are still crashing if we... we're still crashing if we take a stack of stones. Actually, no. This is what we want. We want like 3 stones here. So we'll give us like 3 stones here. And we'll crash still if we try to take more than... Well, see, it doesn't crash there. It doesn't crash there. Why did it crash? Why did it crash? Because that's all we did was take... we take both our stones and try to... Well, it doesn't crash. I don't get why it crashed. Dang it. I was hoping we were done with these, like, freaking crashes out of nowhere. Well, we've got our fix. We just need to do some more thorough debugging, which we have known we've needed to do that. It's just hard because I can't recreate them, but at least I've recorded them and they're on tape. So record. I'll review them and see if I can't reenact those crashes, and then tomorrow we can try to debug that stuff. So if we exit Tmux, actually I don't want to. How do you just leave a session but keep it active in Tmux? Because I feel like if I quit Vim here... Oh, we're still in Tmux. Okay, good. So I'm going to say git diff. Okay, we've got a turn count variable. We reset it under the reset function and under a white or black winds. Then we're only changing our stones if it's higher than a turn count of 2. We're only changing our move type if it's a turn count higher than 2. And then we are placing the opposite color stones if it's a turn count 1 and turn count 2. And then we're rendering the opposite color stones if it's a turn type 1 or 2. And then we added some more instructions for placing the other opponent's stone before yours. So I'm going to go ahead and add everything to the staging area with a commit message saying added first movement logic and instructions. And we're going to get pushed that bad boy up, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll try to track those tricky, pesky bugs down. And then if we can do that, all we've got to do is fix our song looping, and then we're done. So we're basically there. I'm going to detach, which is what? Control B, detach. No, what is it? Control A, detach. Okay, cool, detached. So, yeah, I actually want to leave us, if I put us in our, here. So I actually want to do this. I want to say we replace starting moves. We did all of this today, which is good. Yeah. So yeah, all we have to do is loop songs, and then I want to add, actually, it was right here. So place this. So we're basically done. We've just got these two things left. Then we're good to go. I'm going to leave the tmux session open here. No, it's Control A, detach. Cool. So tomorrow, like let's say we're about to, I just want to kind of show off how tmux is cool. So like, here's my computer. I'm going to open up a terminal, and I want to go to my last tmux session. I say attach, and we're there. As I screw that up, but we're right there. So that's cool. Yeah. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and we'll do some more bug hunting, finalization, then we're polishing up our game, and then we're gonna ship it. And by ship it, I mean move on. If you guys want to play, it's really simple. All you do is download the Love 2D game engine from love2d.org. Go to my Git repo, links in the description. You can download the source zip, unzip it, drag that folder onto your Love icon, and you can play the game yourself. And then you have access to the whole Git thing, so you can pull every snapshot of this commit, follow along with this whole programming series if you really wanted to. But I really love Git for that reason. It's super powerful, and it's just really cool technology. And we're almost done. This is finally the home stretch, and we're basically done. Then we'll have completed our first game. I mean, I've done small games. This is the first 1,000+ line of code game I've done. We'll do a code review once we're done to kind of review how many lines of code and whatnot. Not to say that more lines is better, but it's a nice metric to kind of be like, hey, it took me 4 months to build a 3,000 line program or whatever it was. So we can kind of figure it out like that if we really wanted to.